Just hang on. So what do we mean by mental well-being? So mental well-being is a state of well-being where an individual, okay, is able to realize his or her potential, able to cope with normal stresses of life, has enough resiliency, is able to work productively and contribute to the community. Now, according to WHO, they predicted that depression will likely overtake heart disease and cancer and become the single most common chronic disease by 2030. And this was done way before the COVID pandemic started. Well, I don't know whether we'll hit that before 2030, right? Now, worldwide, 1 in 4 experience some form of mental health problems, and anxiety is the most prevalent mental health issue. Now, let's look at Malaysia. Now, if you look at the National Health and Mobility Survey, compared in 1996, it was 10.7 people with the prevalence of mental health problems. And it increased rather slowly to 11.2 and 12 by the time it was 2012. But between 2012 and 2015, there was a rapid increase to 29.2% of the Malaysian population being, about the prevalence of mental health issues. Now, the National Health and Mobility Survey 2019 indicates that 2.3% of adults have depression and 7.9% of children have some sort of mental health problems due to poor interaction with their peers. All right, now let's look at the contributing factors. Why is it that we are having these challenges, and what can we do? So one of the main components will be stress, right? Now, stress, we all know, is the health epidemic of the 21st century, okay? And there are many published papers linking a stressful life to anxiety and depression. So what is the relationship between stress and mental well-being? So when we experience stress, this activates certain pathways, all right? And the end result of this activation is that we have this stress chemicals being released called the cortisol, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. And at the same time, the relaxation component of our nervous system is switched off, okay? And what happens also is that we have brain chemicals called the neurotransmitters, which are the serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. Serotonin is what we call Mr. Happiness, and dopamine is the Mr. Motivation. GABA is the grand controller or the inhibitor who manages everything and doesn't let anyone get overexcited. So when a person experiences stress, what happens is that the production of the neurotransmitters are reduced. Okay, now, of course, causes of stress, right? Like I was watching the video earlier, work stress, okay, stress at school, stress at home, and discord at home is increasing rapidly due to the lockdown and everybody being confined in a limited space, okay? And what about technology, all right? I think there are many people who are very, addicted to the phone, all right? In the sense that even if they have to put it on a silent mode and just the ping and the ding, the heart is already racing. Okay, what message is there? All right, so every time the heart races, it means a small amount of the stress hormone, the cortisol, is being churned out, all right? So now this churning is not just for 1 minute or 1 hour. This is 24/7 and it goes on and on, all right? And there was an interesting survey done by this person called Professor Adam Adler. He wrote this book, Irresistible. And in this book, he had done a survey where he posed this question to the respondents as to whether, if there was a choice and a situation warranted where you had to choose whether you break your bone or your handphone. And I was amazed at the answer. 46% of the respondents would prefer to break their bone. So, they need to save their handphone. They don't mind breaking their bone. And the other 54%, it was not an easy decision. They had to think about it. Okay, the phone or my bone, all right? And we spend a huge amount of time on the smartphones, okay, on the average 3 hours as compared to 18 minutes pre-smartphone era, okay. Now, with the COVID pandemic, right, we have other forms of stresses, right? One of it being the COVID itself. So people have a lot of worry and fear. We always worry about the unknown. So, for example, someone doesn't know whether will you get COVID or won't you get COVID. If you get COVID, will you recover from COVID or you won't recover from COVID? Will you get an ICU bed? Will you get a ventilator? You know, this kind of rumination goes on because you don't have specific definitive answers. Then the mind goes into a mode where it tends to worry, right? Now, human beings are social beings, and when we encounter this form of lockdowns, which we of course have to go through due to the number of COVID cases and the infections, etc. But just speaking from the point of view about the lockdown, so this social isolation impacts people's mental wellness, even though they may not have any other problem. That means they have a job, they haven't had any financial losses, everything is okay. But just being confined, all right, for some people, it begins to impact their mental well-being. And of course, there are people who have lost jobs, right? The economy is suffering, so people are suffering, right? Businesses are closing. So these are some additional causes brought upon by COVID, okay? So just to look at some statistics, there was an online survey done last year by some researchers which they published. And this was just 2-3 months into the COVID scenario in Malaysia. And it shows that depressive symptoms had accelerated to 59%, anxiety symptoms by 55%, and stress symptoms at 30%. Okay, so now moving on from stress, let's look at diet, right? Does our diet contribute to our mental well-being, and does it contribute to increasing or reducing our stress levels? Well, the research shows that if you eat a lot of refined grains like white rice, white bread, okay, a lot of sugary food, this increases your risk of developing mental health issues. All right. Now, if you take a lot of caffeine, right, this can be coffee, Coca-Cola. This contributes to increased anxiety. Now, studies also show that people who eat a lot of fast food, pizza, burgers, etc., have a 40% increased risk of mental health issues, particularly depression. And same goes with those who consume a lot of trans fatty acids. So trans fatty acids, right? I think most of you may know it's found in margarine. 30 years ago, we thought that butter was not good. So we used plant oil to develop margarine. This is used widely in commercially baked goods, all right, and in processed food. And now we find that trans fatty acids are actually harmful to our health. Okay, so trans fatty acid, high intake of trans fatty acids also contributes to increased risk of depression. Now, if you eat a lot of fried food, a lot of red meat, a lot of which has a lot of saturated fats, this decreases your blood flow in the brain, decreases the production of the neurotransmitters. Remember the brain chemicals that talk to each other, and this increases the risk of developing mental health problems, right? Now, as man evolves, okay, what has happened is that instead of becoming more active, we've become more sedentary. And the only part of our body that is very active and that we exercise routinely and regularly are our fingers. Either we use our handphone, we use our tablets, laptop, computers, etc. All right. Now, many studies have shown that a sedentary lifestyle increases the risk of mental health issues. For example, one such study is called the SUN study, and this looked at 10,000 participants in their study, and it correlates with the fact that a sedentary lifestyle, lack of physical activity, increases the risk of mental health problems. All right, and the risk of not exercising is as bad as smoking. So sitting is the new smoking. Now, what about smoking? All right, many smokers feel that they need to smoke because smoking helps to alleviate anxiety, helps to reduce the stress. But actually, the reverse is true. Smoking, when you smoke, there's nicotine, and that actually increases your production of your stress hormone cortisol. So it also, over a period of time, increases stress, increases anxiety. and smokers are more prone to depression than non-smokers. Alcohol. All right. Now, alcohol again. People feel that if I'm very stressed, I have some alcohol, I feel more relaxed. Okay. It is a common method of managing stress and anxiety, but it may not be the most effective way because alcohol is actually a depressant, right? And again, it contributes to increased anxiety and stress over a period of time. Now, people who are socially disconnected have a shorter lifespan, increased risk of mental and physical health issues. Now, though we are very technologically connected, but we are very disconnected in a way, okay? So many people are connected only on social media, and multiple studies are beginning to show that high social media use increases the risk of depression. All right, now, what's the link between our gut and our brain? Okay, now let's talk about our gut for a minute. Okay, the gut is host to billions of bacteria, right? And it basically should be 70% good bacteria and 30% bad bacteria. But due to our unhealthy lifestyle, like what we discussed earlier, all right, now this balance may not be in optimum. So when this balance is not optimum, we have an issue because the gut hosts the microbiota or the organisms, right? And the gut and the brain are linked. So what goes on in the gut influences our mental health. So influences the productions of neurotransmitters, stress, mood, behavior, etc. And likewise, of course, the brain has an effect on our gut. So similarly, if you face an examination, for example, you feel that you have butterflies in your stomach, all right? So the stressor from the brain exhibits or plays out in feeling uncomfortable in your tummy, right? So again, having a good lifestyle will ensure that we have good microbiota, which again influences our mental health. So what are we going to do, or rather, what are the changes that we want to make, all right? What are the lifestyle changes that we want to make so that we can have better mental health? So we're going to focus on the 6 core pillars: healthy eating, physical activity, how to manage our stress, forming and maintaining relationships, improving sleep, and avoiding risky substances. So before we start talking about food, let's talk about eating. So do we do mindful eating, or do we mindlessly munch? All right. This mindless munching usually comes into play when we have stress. When we have stress, all right, we eat even if we are not hungry, and we tend to snack on junk food. So nobody is going to say, I feel stressed now to sort of manage my stress or to feel better. Sorry. Okay. So as I was saying, all right. So when we feel anxiety or stress, we're going to snack on junk food. We're not going to be snacking on a celery stick, or we're not going to have an apple to munch on, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to look for a chocolate, or we're going to look for some crisps. So it's always something sweet or something oily. Why? Because the stress hormone works in such a way that it promotes the liking for this sort of food. So if we are aware that we have stress, and when we have the tendency, we don't have to always do that. Of course, it's not going to be that you never ever do it, but once in a way, it's okay, right? So what kind of food do we want? We want to have a diet, right? A diet that is high in antioxidants, high in nutrients, okay? It is anti-inflammatory in nature. Why? It will help to repair any damage to the brain, okay? At the same time, we want diet that promotes the balance of the neurotransmitters and blunt the effect of stress. So what kind of food should we be eating? We need to have a predominantly plant-based diet, because it's high in fiber. It is also nutrient dense. Now, we don't want a diet that is high in calorie but nutrient empty, okay? Now, if we look at our National Health and Mobility Survey 2019, right? Now, almost 95% of adults do not consume the recommended servings of vegetable per day. So the recommended serving is 5, and that means most adults don't actually consume 5 servings of vegetables per day, right? So then you can also understand why we have got a high risk, or rather we have our incidence of most chronic diseases are very high. Okay. So what kind of plate are we looking at? So we want a plate where we have half the plate with fruits and vegetables. Okay. Now a quarter of the plate should be whole grains, and the other quarter of the plate being proteins. But not just fish, chicken, and stuff like that, but you also want plant proteins. Why plant proteins? I'm not advocating that you become a vegetarian. The reason is plant proteins, especially the legumes, are high in fiber. So the benefit of fiber, all right, I'm sure all of you know, is that, okay, it helps you to maintain your cholesterol, or okay, it helps you to have a balanced blood sugar. But on top of that, in the intestine, it helps to form something called short-chain fatty acid and butyrate, which plays a significant role in warding off many chronic diseases, right? So now you add your plant protein, your legumes in particular. Of course, you can have your tofu and tempeh. Then you add on your chicken or fish. No issues with that, right? All right, so individuals who eat whole food, okay, as compared to processed food, have fewer symptoms of depression. All right, now the happiness prescription for today. You want to be happy? All right, all right. So what do you need to do? You need to take, as research shows that take 8 servings of vegetables and fruits per day. Who's game for that? All right, so 8 servings of multicolored vegetables and fruits, all right, helps to boost your mood and helps to make you have a positive attitude, okay, and calms down the mind. Now, some fruits, for example, like watermelon and banana, help in the formation of dopamine. Remember the Mr. Motivation? And bananas also help in the formation of our Mr. Happiness, serotonin. Okay, so if you eat the right type of food, it helps build the necessary neurotransmitters or the brain chemicals in the brain. All right, now all carbohydrate, whether it's simple carbohydrate or it's complex carbohydrate, they all help to form serotonin, our Mr. Happiness. But you want to take complex carbohydrates so you don't have a seesaw up and down. Okay, if you take simple carbohydrate, it's bad for health, and you have the yo-yo effect on the body. All right. Now, for those of you who maybe don't like to eat oats, because oats is one of the complex carbohydrates, other than that, brown rice, basmati rice, chapati. All right. You don't have to eat oats the traditional way with milk. You can make oats with hot water. You can add sambal to it, or you can add some curry or dal, or you can have oats as your porridge and eat it with your dishes. Okay. All right. Now, proteins are your building blocks, all right, for your neurotransmitters. Proteins contain amino acids, so they help to provide the building blocks for your neurotransmitters, your brain chemicals. So please make sure that the chicken has got no skin, because the skin's got a lot of fat. All right, fish is fine. Then milk has got tryptophan, which helps form serotonin. Okay, it's good to have some milk at night if people find it difficult to sleep. And then we talked about the legumes earlier. All right. Now, studies show that if you take monounsaturated fats, as in olive oil, or polyunsaturated fats, as in from sunflower oil examples, all right, this helps to reduce the risk of depression. Now, the essential fatty acids, okay, these are also important for our mental health, for mental well-being, and they cannot be manufactured by the body. So where do you get them? Okay, some of the oily fish, tuna, mackerel, all right, almonds, walnuts, and pumpkin seeds. Okay, now you can you have that, and that helps to elevate your essential fatty acids in the body, right? Now this will help to blunt the effects of stress and helps to produce your neurotransmitters. So again, recapping what we have discussed thus far, nutrition is the most important single environmental factor affecting health, both physical and mental. Right. So this is a study called the SMILES study. It's a randomized controlled trial. And what they found was that they looked at dietary improvement for patients with major depression, and very interesting outcome. 32% of patients with moderate to severe major depression remitted with nutritional intervention alone. Okay. So now what more, people like us who are fairly well, we want to improve our mental well-being. So incorporating a lifestyle change, increasing the amount of vegetables and fruits in your diet, okay, And within 2 weeks, you'll be able to see the changes. Okay, all right. Now, let's move on to exercise. But before we move on to exercise, I cannot overemphasize this statement that you can't out-exercise a bad diet. Now, this is very important because I've got patients who exercise very diligently. They'll walk up Gassing Hill, but then when they come down, they'll go to the restaurant, Raju's restaurant. I'm not sure that all of you are familiar with Raju's restaurant. And then they have their teh tarik and roti canai. Now, I'm really okay about that if it's a once a month, you get together with your friends, you go on a social climb. But if you're doing it daily as part of your exercise routine, so you've just come down and you've just cut off everything that you have done. Okay. So when you exercise, we need to incorporate aerobic, okay, as well as strength training and flexibility, because even aerobic is what will be most beneficial for mental wellness. But a well mind can only be found in a well body. All right. Now, as we age, we need to make sure that our flexibility and strength training is incorporated as well. All right. So many studies show that exercise, of course, helps to reduce the symptoms of depression. Exercise is equivalent to CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. All right. And very importantly, exercise in young children is protective or rather it helps in preventing them develop depression in their early adulthood. Okay. So we talked a lot about stress earlier. So how are we going to manage stress? Because that is one of the main components of mental well-being, right? So let's look at the definition of stress first. So we can break the definition into two. Stress, we define it as the pressures of life. But the second part of it, how do we perceive it? How do we react, and how do we cope with these pressures? Now, we may not be able to do much about the pressures of life, but we can definitely do something about our perception. We can reset the mind, all right? That's why where stress is concerned, two different people may view a similar situation differently depending on their ability to cope, okay? So mind-body intervention techniques like yoga or mindfulness help to reduce the stress sensor in the brain. We have a stress sensor in the brain called the amygdala. So this is the sensor that picks up threat to the body. So the threat to the body here is not a physical threat as in acute stress, but this threat is the ruminations in our mind, is the repetitive thinking in our mind, all right? Now, when we do mind-body intervention techniques, what happens is that it helps us to declutter and empty the things that we have in the mind. It helps us to calm down the mind, or rather tame the monkey mind. All right, so we have more clarity and more peace. Okay, so we are able to then evoke what we call the relaxation response. What is the relaxation response? Very simply, remember the parasympathetic nervous system, or what I said, the relaxation component to our nervous system, it is switched off. So when we do these techniques, it helps us to switch it on, because we forgot how to switch it on. All right. So we have now forgotten that we can actually switch it on. So this helps us to switch it on. So when we switch it on, immediately the relaxation response kicks in, and we have changes in our physical and emotional response to stress. Right? Now, other than that, of course, exercise also helps to reduce the effects of stress, and do things that you enjoy, maybe singing, maybe dancing, all right? Don't take life so seriously, all right? Inject a bit of humor and connect with nature. Connecting with nature is very important, all right? So especially now that we are all locked down and we are at home, okay, take some time to go out. Of course, you're going to ask me, Doc, where can we go now? I can't go to any park. I'm locked down, right? So, but what you can do is you can actually you can actually go to your garden, all right? You can go to your garden, and you can connect with nature there, and make sure that you get some exposure to sunlight, all right? So sunlight helps to elevate our mood, okay? All right, we talked about substance abuse, smoking. So other than for mental well-being, if a person decides, I want to stop smoking today, 17th of June, 2021, by 17th June, 2022, all right, you will reduce the risk of heart disease by 50% with no other changes in your lifestyle. So that shows the impact of what smoking does to even your physical body, right? Now, going on to alcohol, All right, 2 drinks per day for men and 1 for women is permissible or is okay. All right. Now, but you cannot binge drink. So that means if today you didn't drink, it's gone. So you cannot say, Doc, I didn't drink for 5 days. And so Friday night, I've got to really have a good session. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. And let's talk a little bit about sleep. So when we talk about sleep, it's not just the number of hours. Of course, we need to sleep 6 to 8 hours. All right. I think we all know that. But also is the timing of sleep. Okay. Because the body has its own circadian rhythm. And we need to follow that circadian rhythm for us to be healthy. Okay. Now, there was a large study done by a researcher from the University of London by the name of Chandler. So he studied over 10,000 patients and he looked at cortisol levels, the stress hormone levels on workers who did night shift. And what did he find? He found that these workers, even though they didn't have any excessive stress, but they had high levels of cortisol because they continuously did night shift. All right. So a disordered sleeping pattern increases your cortisol. So when you have elevated cortisol levels, you have low neurotransmitters. And studies also show that poor sleep pattern increase your risk of mental health issues. Now, social connectivity. One of the most important predictors of happiness and longevity is being socially connected. All right. Socially connected means in person. So like even during the lockdown, instead of just WhatsApping and messaging people, pick up the phone and call because you need to make that engagement with the person. All right. Now there was a study done in Harvard. It's one of the longest running studies where they compared Harvard male students who are considered the privileged guys. All right. Who had everything. They have money, they have education, and they compared them with Boston inner city men who are the rough and tough guys who don't have much going for them. And over the years, what they found was that what made people happy and live longer was not their status, the amount of money or the education they had, but was the social connectivity. So I cannot overemphasize how important this is, and especially in terms of taking care of our mental well-being. All right. So Yvonne, are we okay for time?
Yes, very on time.
Okay, we're okay. All right. Okay, I'm just going to share. This is a patient of mine. He's a Middle Eastern man who presented in November 2019 with social phobia. But because he was very heavy, so we decided to do some tests and found that he was actually diabetic. He didn't know. All right. And his anxiety score was, he had moderate anxiety. So what was his diet like? He only ate rice and meat, no exercise. So this was a very motivated patient. Okay, he will come for his consultation with a notebook, and if he doesn't understand anything I'm saying, he will write in Arabic. He speaks good English though, and he will go back and he will check and he'll come back to ask me. Very motivated, a very disciplined guy. So anyway, so I told him, okay, this is what you should do. So he adopted a plant-based diet predominantly because basically we are going from actually no vegetables, no fruits to incorporating vegetables and fruits into your diet. As I said, it's not becoming vegetarian. But what we are doing is, I told you earlier, 95% of Malaysians don't eat the recommended 5 servings of vegetables and fruits. So where are you going to get your vitamins and minerals from? You can't get it from your rice and your protein. Okay, all right. And then he will exercise every day, 1 hour, 5 times a week, as recommended. And we did yoga for anxiety. By the end of February 2020, his GAT score was normal. He has no more social phobia. His weight had dropped to 90 kilos, and his HbA1c had come down to 5.8, and he's maintaining that now. So I have another 18-year-old girl who presented with anxiety in August 2020. She has a family history where the father had diabetes, stroke, myocardial infarction. She was obese with a BMI of 34. GAT score was moderate anxiety. Actually, I want to highlight the type of food and their lifestyle patterns. So what's her diet? Grab food, because father is bedbound and they are not able to sort of manage everything. It was just a few months after the father had a stroke. Irregular eating pattern. She's a student, so they sleep at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. So they get up at 12 o'clock and then they start breakfast or lunch. I don't know what it's called. And then, so everything is not right. The system is not right. So she has a lot of stress as well. So after lifestyle intervention, where we also did yoga for anxiety, she did her exercise, all right, walking. diet modification, again predominantly plant-based. But with her, it was a little bit more challenging because you see, this is a young girl who only does grab food. So the first, I can't tell her don't do grab food, don't buy food, you cook. You can't. It's not going to work. So first step would be okay. You get your grab food, you get your meat and your vegetables, and then why do you want to eat this lousy rice? Why don't you go and buy some good brown rice? Can you do that? Yeah, okay, can. All right, so first step done. Okay, then after a few visits, maybe the vegetables is not enough. You think you can make a salad? I'll teach you how to make a salad. Yeah. I think I can cook some tauge. Okay, you go step by step. And then after some time, usually what the patients start doing is they start sharing all the dishes they are making. All right. And anyway, by October 2020, her GET score had come down to mild anxiety, and by this year, her anxiety is more or less under control. She's doing quite well. Okay, so as I said, as Yvonne introduced me earlier, I'm from the Malaysian Society of Lifestyle Medicine, and we are affiliated to the Lifestyle Medicine Global Alliance. And the objective of this society is to help, it's twofold. One is we also want to train healthcare professionals about lifestyle intervention so that they can counsel patients. We also want to share about lifestyle change for physical as well as mental issues so that we can adapt a correct way of living and add on whatever else treatment that we want. See, what's happening now is we must understand when we have lifestyle issues, we got there because of our lifestyle. And until and unless we change that, okay, medication alone is not going to help us. Okay, so that's the objective. So we'll be having our inaugural conference end of this year. All right, maybe later I will share it with Yvonne and Dixon. Okay. All right. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, lifestyle interventions that include a healthy diet along with exercise, improved stress resiliency, adequate sleep, good social connectivity, avoidance of smoking and alcohol in moderation will help to manage stress, improve mental health, and prevent physical diseases. All right. So stay safe, stay healthy, and be happy. And I'm going to leave you with a quote. Health is a choice. Okay, so which is yours? All right. Okay. Thank you very much for attending this session. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the National Coalition for Mental Wellness, our Rotary, as well as, okay, is it MHI? Or yeah, and MHI, okay, for having me on this platform. All right. It's been a pleasure sharing with you all. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Siva, for such a wonderful sharing and very insightful knowledge today. I think all of us here, we have about 126 participants and it's still growing. Wow, Dr. Siva, I think everyone is here eagerly to listen to your sharing. And in fact, Dr. Siva not just a knowledgeable person, but he's also a very friendly person. And he just now he mentioned something about having a good sense of humor. It's very important to relieve our stress as well. So maybe I can have a conclusion here. Just now, Dr. Siva mentioned about there are 6 ways to control your health, take control. So the first one would be taking care of our nutrition. Yeah, then also exercise and taking care and take note of our stress level. And how do we actually reduce our stress level is to get in touch of nature. So of course, you can just go to the garden, get in touch with greens, and then sense of humor also very important to relieve the stress. And also, the fourth one will be substance abuse. I need to take note of that. And fifth one is get enough sleep. Okay, and also the last one will be relationship. Does contribute to that as well. So I think these are the 6 areas that we need to take note by our Dr. Siva, right? Okay, so before I move on to Q&A, I think there's a pool question for all of you here to answer. So can I have the pool questions to appear for our audience here today? Yes, thank you very much. Okay, the first question, do you have a furrow brow? Okay, I can see everyone, yes, no. Okay, wow, everyone is answering. Wow, the answer yes, no is, wow, okay. Okay, let's see. Yes, no, not sure. All right.
Root brow is like this. You're
Okay,
always frowning.
frowning. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
somebody asked the
If
question. Yeah.
Dr. Siwa just demonstrated how a furrow brow looks like. Okay, thank you, Dr. Siwa. That's why I say Dr. Siwa is a very engaging person. Yeah, in fact, if you talk to Dr. Siwa, you would like to talk to him more because he has a very great sense of humor on top of his great knowledge about lifestyle mental wellness. Okay, maybe there should be a sometime. Okay, I saw. All right. Okay, let's see the poll questions here. Okay, I think, wow, most of them say no. Okay, so we have about 28% say yes and not sure. All right, thank you. And there's a second one. Let's see the second poll. All right. Okay, you can see, right? Okay. Can okay. We have lesser not sure and a lot of no now. Okay. So, all right. Has everyone voted?
No, we still have
Okay.
people
Yeah.
voting.
Still voting, yeah, this one is, do you feel tight at your shoulder? Okay, I don't know how to demonstrate that, but yeah, sometimes, we feel like, our shoulder is a bit tense. So is it a yes or no or not sure? Okay, I think the word is still upcoming, still ongoing.
Yes, we have 93. Yeah, more or less stopped already.
All right. Okay, thank you for all the vote. All right, majority voted no. So, Dr. Siva, can you like explain to us, okay, what is all this symptom about? Yes and no. What is it means? Dr. Siva?
Sorry, yeah, I think I
Yeah.
had some instability in my connection for a while. Could you just repeat
Ah,
that, please?
no worries. Okay, can you like explain to the audience here, like what is it meant by yes and no in terms of tense at the shoulder and also furrow brow?
Okay.
Actually, what the is signal? Yeah.
All right. Okay. So basically, some of the symptoms of external symptoms of stress is, you tend to always have a furrowed brow every now and then. You even when you're thinking, you will do that, right? So they're actually external signs of stress. And the other common one is you always have a lot of stiffness around the neck and shoulder, but we think it's just shoulder pain. So basically, because before our mind registers that we are experiencing stress, our body registers it. All right. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because you see this whole thing about stress. When we talk about acute stress, it is all about a fight or flight. That means is to protect ourselves. So the body will start getting tense to actually either fight with somebody or to run away from the situation. Okay. But here, like as I said, it's not acute stress. It's not like there's a bear chasing us or there's a threat physically, but the threat is in our mind. So there is no place to run to, so there's no downtime after that. So we keep on having that pain and or the tightness, or I think somebody said in the chat like a heaviness in the shoulder, but we think it's because it's only contributed by, let's say, laptop use, or maybe we're always writing. All right. So that's what basically these two questions are some symptoms of external stress. So if you find yourself doing that, then you got to take a step back and create that awareness in your mind. Okay, is it that I'm actually experiencing stress, but it has become part and parcel of my life? So I live with it thinking it's normal. Okay? All right? Is that okay, Yvonne?
Yes, yes, very clear. Thank you so much, Dr. Siva. Okay, now we will open up to the most exciting session of the day, which is the Q&A session for our Dr. Siva. So if all the audience here, if you have any question you have in mind, I believe everyone here have a lot of questions for our Dr. Siva here. Yeah, it's so honorable to have him here. Okay, you all can start to type your question at the chat box and we will raise up to our Dr. Siwa on lifestyle, mental wellness. Okay, So I think I will proceed with me first, since yeah, I have a lot of questions for Dr. Siwa. Okay, I will start from myself. Okay, Dr. Siwa, just now you mentioned about vitamin D just now during your talk. So I would like to ask, does vitamin D does help in terms of our mental wellness?
Yes, actually, just to give a little background on vitamin D, our previous sort of thinking about vitamin D, even from the medical fraternity, we always thought that vitamin D was just related to bone health because it helps to absorb calcium. Then along the way, we begin to realize that vitamin D plays a big role in both our physical and mental health. And low levels of vitamin D, research is beginning to show that it can lead to depression-like symptoms. Okay, and people with depression may have a higher tendency of having vitamin D deficiency. But having said that, though that's what the studies show, but I just want to share that in my own experience, see, I find that most people, or rather, I don't have a patient who without treatment has a normal vitamin D levels. So, but it doesn't mean that everybody I'm seeing has some mental health issue. They are, I mean, some of them have other health issues. You see, the reason could be because we don't have enough exposure to sunlight. All right. So earlier I said that connect with nature, try to go to your garden and try to get some exposure to sunlight. So because then we get the vitamin D and it helps to elevate our mood. Okay. So other than connecting with nature, it's also the part about the vitamin D. Okay. So, and what I also find is that, for example, let's say people who are maybe 40s, 50s, even though their vitamin D levels are low, it is not as low as people who in the 20s. So the only thing I can think about is during our younger age, we were all out, always playing outdoors. Whereas now the younger age group, they are always indoors. For them, being indoors is normal. Those days, being indoors was abnormal. You see, this is the new norm. So I have young people, 18 years old, the vitamin D level is as low as 12, and the normal is 75 and above.
Mm.
Okay, and just to share that, because doesn't mean so everybody shouldn't run off, do a test, and think I've got some kind of a mental health issue, you know. Okay. So I
All
just want
right.
to clarify that, like, okay, right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Siwa. Yeah, I can see all the question is start to swarming in. Wow. Okay, let me see. Okay, I got a very interesting question here, but I'm not sure is it relatable. But yeah. Someone asked here, is it the best way? What is the best way to lose the belly fat? Yeah. So maybe Dr. Siwa can highlight us on that.
All right. I mean, okay, basically, to lose belly fat, basically everything is about input output. So you cannot do like, okay, I've got belly fat, and then I only want to do exercise to remove the belly fat. Of course, I don't know who this person is and the overall picture. So what you should do is basically reduce the intake of your fats and your carbohydrate, your sweet dishes. Okay, that will reduce the calorie. All right, and then you've got to exercise. So you see, when you exercise, if you want to lose weight, and if you only exercise, let's say half an hour, that's not enough. Half an hour is for people just to keep healthy. But now you have an objective, you want to lose weight or rather lose the belly fat. Okay. So it is at least 1 hour. And then after doing that, then you can start doing things like boat pose, specific exercises for the abdomen. And it's a very good question about this belly fat, because I mean, of course, we are going off the mental health topic a little bit, but okay, we're talking about belly fat because abdominal obesity is an independent risk factor for heart disease. That means even though you let's say you have a normal BMI, but you have your abdominal girth is more than normal, it's a risk factor for heart disease. So it's very important because the fat under the abdomen, that one has its own system, and it creates a lot of havoc in the body. Okay.
Mm, all right. Okay. Thank you so much. I hope Dr. Siwa has answered your question there. Okay. So Dr. Siwa, I saw someone in the chat box asking, okay, what about mindfulness practice and also learn connective behavior therapy techniques? What about these two techniques? Can you explain a little bit more?
So sorry, mindfulness technique, and what's the other one? CBT, is it?
mindfulness practice and also, yeah, CPT, correct. Cognitive behavior therapy.
That is a behavioral therapy which is usually prescribed as a form of treatment. Okay, so that one we won't go into it in detail now, but mindfulness is basically um, a state where you are become aware of what you're doing. All right. So to cultivate the mindfulness, basically you need to engage the mind. All right. So you can do activity like, say, for example, yoga. All right. So again, you need to do some kind of a practice. So then the mind becomes absorbed in that, because I told you earlier, I used the term the monkey mind. So the monkey in our mind, now we all have a monkey mind, and we cannot control the monkey because the monkey does what it wants, and we have to kind of follow the monkey. So in order for us to manage the mind, we got to distract the mind. So then mindfulness is actually a state. So mindfulness was actually, it's actually an offshoot like from these practices like yoga and all. And yoga now in the West is very big because it helps with people with, I mean, physical as well as mental issues. Mindfulness was developed by this doctor called John Kabat-Zinn. All right, so he tried to develop a technique. Maybe it's about 30, 40 years. And so he developed this technique, and then he promoted something called mindfulness-based stress reduction method, all right, using some relaxation technique, deep relaxation techniques. So I hope that answers the mindfulness question, okay? So you don't have to sit down and like meditate. So mindfulness is actually tapping the awareness in the mind. So you eat mindfully. For example, like, or when we talk, also we talk mindfully. You see, many times when two people are talking, all right, before somebody can finish, the other person wants to talk because you're not actually listening to the person. You are absorbed with what you want to say, you know. And same with eating. When you eat mindfully, then you are able to taste the flavor, see the color, all right. If you eat mindlessly, you just eat one whole packet of chips, finish, oh, finish already. My God, I ate one whole packet of chips. That's mindless eating. Mindful eating, then you say I ate half a packet already. Oh my God, that's going to be bad for me. Okay, right.
All
Okay,
right.
I think somebody asked me about vitamin D. I saw the question earlier. So how long you take vitamin D depends on your vitamin D profile. So I want to say another point about vitamin D. See, we have fat-soluble vitamins and we have water-soluble vitamins. So water-soluble vitamins are like vitamin B, C, etc. So if you take a little bit extra, there's no issue. It's just going to be flushed out of the system. But vitamin A, D, E, K, they are what we call the fat-soluble vitamins. All right. Now you need to take it, but you need to take it carefully because they don't get flushed out of your system. So you need to monitor your blood levels. Okay, because if you harbor it in the body, it can also lead to toxicity. Okay, so I cannot give a specific answer how long. It all depends on what type of vitamin D you're taking. If you take the liquid one, it's faster, and the capsule ones are a bit slower. All right.
All right.
There's a question
Okay.
here about somebody asking
Yeah.
a very in-depth question about some health issue, is it?
Yeah, Dr. Siva, actually there are a lot of questions coming in, but I think there is one which caught my attention. It's a long one. Okay, maybe I can read it out. This person said that I have an issue with my mental health because I'm currently having a problem with my dad past pre-pandemic few years ago, and it's still held back on me. So, and during the pandemic and the lockdown, it actually make it worse. So, what is the best solution I should deal with this problem? So to you, Dr. Siwa?
Okay, I think since this is actually a particular, it's a particular issue, that means it's not just a casual question, all right? So my suggestion would be is that you need to see some healthcare provider, all right? Because this may need a little bit more attention so that you get the right treatment and you are guided in the right way. Okay, so I wouldn't be able to give you a simple answer like, okay, do this or do that. Of course, you can incorporate all the things that I talked about, eat the right type of diet, do some exercise, all right? If you can do some mindfulness exercise, you can, but otherwise connect with nature, all right? If you are taking alcohols, try and stop it. If you're smoking, try and stop it. try to remain socially connected. Don't be on the mobile phone all the time and be on social media, because all that is going to make your issues worse. So you can incorporate all this to make yourself better, but I think you need the help of of somebody who you need to see in person. Okay, so possibly, I mean, you can go and see like a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Okay, or maybe even your GP, or someone who you can talk to in detail, and then they can guide you, and you do what all the lifestyle changes that we talked about today. All right, I hope that helps you.
All right, Dr. Siva, I believe that advice will definitely lifted that question a bit. All right. I think I saw from Jude and also from Andrew. I will ask this together. Will daily massage help, and also will listening to music help to de-stress?
Yes, sure. Massage is good for de-stressing, and listening to light music is also good for de-stressing. So that those are things that you can, incorporate into your daily routine. I mean, music, but massage, I mean, according to what schedule you have. All right, because those help to relax the muscles and the body, and then inevitably it will register in the mind that I'm relaxing.
Okay, thank you so much. I hope it answer. Okay, there's another specific question from Shiva. He said, thank you, doctor, for the insightful sharing today. And my question is, will anxiety affect pregnancy, such as miscarriage?
Mm, okay, I think miscarriage, there are many factors. It's not just anxiety. So it's a multifactorial issue. So I can't give you a straight, it's not like anxiety does or doesn't. It has got no direct relationship, but then it depends on what level of anxiety you have. So the best thing would be when you see your gynecologist, for your obstetrician, for your regular follow-up, discuss this with the obstetrician, all right, that you're having anxiety. And what is this anxiety about? Is it about the pregnancy itself, or is it about other things? And but what I can tell you is that there are some studies and research that show that the mother's mental well-being has some kind of an impact on the child, you know. So that, yes, but in terms of miscarriage, there's no direct answer that I can give you.
Hmm.
Okay? But please talk to your obstetrician.
Hmm. Okay, I think that is a very fair answer. Okay, thank you, Dr. Siva. Okay, there are more questions regarding nutrition, because just now Dr. Siva highlight to us about nutrition, right? So from Moy and also from Carnegie, will virgin coconut oil and also red palm oil good for health, to help us to improve our mental wellness, and also the probiotic help us to improve our mind as well.
Yeah. Probiotics, we discussed about the gut flora. So as I said, most of us may not have optimum gut flora because of the lifestyle, etc. So supplementing with probiotics is good. Though we talked about mental health, but since we're talking about probiotic, actually having good flora now is shown to be also protective against diseases like diabetes, etc. So that's why I mentioned about short chain fatty acid and butyrate in the passing. Okay, and also it is your first line of immunity. So since we are, in the middle of a pandemic, and some of the things that we should do is incorporate probiotics. So you need to take a little higher strength. Don't take like 2 billion, it's too little. So maybe something like 10 billion. They have capsules. Some brands have 10 billion. So get a good one. And coming to virgin coconut oil, yes, it is healthy. It is good for your mental wellness. It's also good for your physical wellness. It's also good for weight loss, all right? Because it's got what we call the medium chain triglyceride, so it helps to burn fat. Okay, so where palm oil is concerned, I am not able to give you a very definitive answer. Okay, but what I understand that it is a fairly good product. Okay, but I myself, I don't actually use it, and neither do I recommend it actively. So I can't comment.
All right. Okay, understood, Dr. Siva. Thank you. I hope that Dr. Siwa has answered your question there. And this one is not so, I saw this question, right? It's not so much about nutrition, but a diet base. So will whole food plant-based diet help in improving our mental and also physical health? Or does it doesn't matter at all? So can you please elaborate to us more?
So is it okay? I just recap with you. So,
Mm,
the question is whether a whole food plant-based diet does it help both mental and physical, uh,
yep.
or or it doesn't matter what you eat? Is that what the question is?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so yes, of course, eating a whole food plant-based diet will help with your both your mental and physical issues. All right, and in fact, like the cases that we shared, all right, though they came to see me for anxiety, and I was sharing with you more about the mental health issues. But you can see all of them, they went on a whole food plant-based diet. But as I said, they also do take some non-vegetarian item, non-plant-based diet, but it's predominantly plant-based. And especially where diabetes is concerned, if you can, it's one of the fastest that you can see the changes. And although, I mean, because of the time constraint, I didn't want to talk much about this, but you must
Mm,
understand that mental health issues, like depression, has a bidirectional relationship with heart disease. I'm not sure whether you all are familiar with that, you know. So if a person has depression, they are at increased risk of cardiac events. And again, same with diabetes, they have a bidirectional relationship. Though we don't really know why, but we think that they may share the same pathway. It may be inflammatory based. So basically, I would encourage all of you to adapt, whole food plant-based diet. But also, when I say plant-based diet, we are talking more about like fresh plant-based food. Now there's a mushrooming of plant-based food, but then if you're going to buy the packs and eat all the things with the preservatives, of course, we all do to sometimes. It's not that you eat 100% healthy, but it shouldn't be done on a regular basis. Because don't forget, then you're eating preservative, and then there's a lot of saturated. There's also fat. Because I read some of the label. Because now I notice there's a mushrooming of this product. So the older versions, I noticed all the trans fat free, all is zero. But the newer version, I see some of them got 16 grams of fat per 100 grams. So that means when you eat one portion, any portion you eat, you're eating 16 gram of some oil or fat, you see. Okay, but then basically when we advocate this plant-based diet, what we are saying is that all over, we are under eating the vegetables and fruits. Okay, so we
mm.
need to up it to balance our system. And then you eat your chicken or fish in moderation, that's fine, or prawns or whatever it is, just the red meat, you need to, keep a lid on it.
Yeah.
I hope
Yep.
that answers the
Yes.
question.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Siwa. Yeah, I think the key word from Dr. Siwa here is we must maintain a balance in everything that we take. Yeah, we can't take like too excessive in one area. Yeah, I think the best will be the balance, even lifestyle, even the food that we take, even nutrition as well. All right. Okay. Someone typing in Tamil, which I don't know how to translate that, but there are a lot of questions. I believe, yes, on my hand here, there are so many questions for Dr. Siva, but we only have 5 more minutes for our Dr. Siva for Q&A session only. So anyone, if you all have any question in mind, it's very hard to get Dr. Siva here to share with us because he is the founder and also president of Lifestyle Medicine. It's so honored that we have here with us today. So, Dr. Siva, I would like to ask, is lifestyle changing applicable to all group of people? So, for example, like B40, M40, and also T20.
Yes, lifestyle change is applicable across the board. You know, it doesn't have to be expensive,
Mm,
right? So, for example, you eat. It's how you select. Let's talk about, okay. The most difficult will be B40, right? So I have patients who are in the B40 group, all right? So you need to work within what you can't ask them to go and buy blueberries and say that, okay, it's good brain food, okay? But they can eat other types of vegetables. Food. You can eat, let's say, all your greens, the sawi, kangkong, bak choy. They're not very expensive, right? Okay, then you can eat some of the wattle gourd, etc. Right? You can also eat tauge. Okay, So there are many vegetables that are not very expensive. You don't have to go and buy air-flown broccoli at 30 ringgit a kilo, right? So you can gear yourself towards the type of vegetable that works for your um, budget. So it's applicable. I don't see that being a problem actually. But of course, it's just that in fact, eating vegetables is cheaper than eating meat,
Mm,
right?
yes.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Dr. Siva. I I think there's a specific question on vitamin D and calcium from Ng Siu Moi. Yeah. She says she's exposing to nature, gardening. Okay. Then, will vitamin D and calcium, if they take together, will it function well, or will it have any different kind of effect if you take it together?
You don't have, I mean, there's no specific recommendation where they should be taken together. But what is important is that you must pick the problem with not so much calcium, but vitamin D is that the bioavailability must be good. So the absorption, the type that you take, you must be able to absorb. That's what you need to look for. But the timing, it doesn't matter. But many people take it at the same time. It's more for convenience because you take a supplement at one time. Right?
Hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Siwa. I hope it answered the question. All right. Dr. Siwa, I think there are a lot of questions on nutrition and also diet wise, but there's one question is more on relate to what we are today, working from home, about our lifestyle. Okay, this is what you're good at. So I would like to ask, like, especially now MCO, we are in a house working from home. Is there any indication that we need to be aware that there is a need for us to change in terms of our lifestyle or even in the environment that we are at? Is there any indication?
Uh, what do you mean by indication? I didn't quite get that.
That means, is there any signal that prompting us that okay, we are work from home too long, that we need a change of lifestyle, we need a change of our environment to make sure that our mental wellness is still on green.
Okay, understand. All right. So,
Mm,
coming from your question, all right. So, if we feel that, for example, like, you're very agitated in the house when you're working from home, and over little things, you're getting a bit stressed up, okay, or you feel like sort of what people like to say, no mood, you don't feel anything very enjoyable. You feel like everything is a little bit like problematic, then you know that something is not right, you know. So my advice to people would be, that you are in an environment that is a little bit, in inverted commas, abnormal, right? We are in a, this is what we call strange times lah. Very strange, okay, strange times. So the lifestyle also very strange. It's not normal. So you see, I have patients who tell me that they don't have any problem. Some of them are corporate figures, and they said initially last year when the lockdown, they were quite happy actually. Happy, in what I mean by happy is like, um, okay, like give them time. They did some cleaning up, etc., that kind of thing, But now, so like I'm telling you, they have people who have no issues, all right. But they say now just the thought of being always confined, not having the freedom to move about or to travel or to do things that you anything like, I mean, not that you want to travel abroad, but let's say you want to go to Charating also cannot. You want to go to shop also cannot. Okay, so that is beginning to get people down. So the way I look at it is what we need to do, because this may go on for a while, right? Okay, first thing is your diet, because if we don't take care of our diet, it's not just about mental wellness. We are going to move from the COVID pandemic to a pandemic of, I don't know what kind of, all the not NCDs, because we got social distancing when we go out, but we got no social distancing between us and the fridge. Right?
all
So,
right.
so when we feel bored, we'll go open the fridge, see what is there, then we munch. So it's no regulated. In the office, in a work setting, we can't do that, right? Okay, then we must make sure that you every day you must make a concerted effort to go out of the house. I mean, like to your garden. Anyway, now even according to MCO, regulation, we can walk outside. We can walk in our own area. You cannot go to another area and walk, lah, right? So within your in your area, you can walk. So you must go out and walk, because that gives you a little bit of an escapism from the confinement that you are in. In a way, like we are a little bit like in a jail, right? Confined to the house. So going out, it gives the brain a sense of freedom. So you got to create that freedom. Okay, instead of waiting for see the symptoms. When we start having the symptoms, then maybe there are some issues. So we know that these are some problems that we may all encounter. So that so these are some things that we can do, and make sure that we exercise. So if you go out, then you walk. So walk at least minimum 40 minutes. Recommended amount of exercise is 210 minutes a week. So it's basically 40 minutes 5 times a week. And any exercise we do must be more than 20 minutes. Anything less than 20 minutes doesn't really give us much benefit, okay, in terms of changes in our body. All right, so we talk about, so we do some take care of our food, okay, eat the type of food that don't take too much of the sweet stuff, because then immediately you feel good, you feel bored, you feel stressed. When you take sweet stuff, immediately we have a lot of the serotonin, the Mr. Happiness, and the sugar in the body, so we feel very happy and excited. And good lah, you say, okay, now I can work again already. Okay, then after about 2 hours, because you've taken simple sugar, straight away the body will absorb it all into the cells by releasing the insulin. So the sugar also will straight away drop. So after 2 hours, you'll be back to square one. Again, you begin to feel, ayo, so irritating to sit in this place, and then you begin to feel all that frustration again. You know, and what is worse is then the body will actually release stress hormone to break down fat to produce sugar. So for no reason, you are getting more stress hormones now from your own body producing stress hormones, even though you're not actually experiencing stress. Okay, and then you do some exercise. If you can do some relaxation technique, okay, but otherwise listen to music and connect with nature. All right, do these things. Try to be more preventive, lah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Siwa. So yeah, we must be mindful in our eating. We can't be, mindlessly munching, because it will add on unnecessary stress, right?
Yes.
Dr. Siwa. Yes, Dr. Siwa, thank you so much for all your patience and time. Because of time is running out, I believe a lot of you still have a lot of questions. In fact, I got a pending list of questions for Dr. Siwa, but because of time issue, thank you for sharing Dr. Siwa's contact number and also his email. So feel free to reach out to Dr. Siwa to answer your personal question, or you have any question in mind to reach out to Dr. Siwa. Okay, last but not least, before I pass on the floor, because of this pandemic, everyone is very aware about mental wellness, especially at home. So do you have like a word of advice for all of us here today for us to share in this extended MCO?
Okay, I mean, it's basically what I've just shared with you earlier. All right, try to very importantly, try to go out a little bit and take a walk. So you are covering the exercise. Plus, as I said, it's a little bit of an escapism from the confinement in your house, because the mind works like, okay, I'm locked down. So you need to tell your mind, okay, I'm not really locked down. I can go for a walk. All right. So it's taking care of your mental wellness that way, doing exercise, which gives you the endorphins. All right. And then also, if you have trees around, then you're connecting with nature, right? And then, of course, make sure that even though you're working at home, try to have a regular routine. Okay, so don't start sleeping at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, watching movie too late, because don't have to go to office, can wake up later. So you try to maintain your routine as you're going, because the more you are regulated in your routine, you will feel, okay, it's almost like I'm going to work, but just that I'm in the house and stuck in the house. That's the only difference. Okay, so try to maintain a routine, because otherwise later you'll find that your sleep pattern all is very haphazard. Okay, so Yvonne is laughing, so I don't know whether Yvonne, you're sleeping very late, is it?
I would prefer not to answer that. All right, thank you so much. You see, Dr. Siwa, you are such a friendly person. I think by talking to you, I feel that my mental wellness is being uplifted by just talking to you. All right.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for Dr. Siwa for all your time, and I will pass the floor to our facilitator, Jia. Yeah,
All right,
pass it
thank
to
you,
you.
Yvonne.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
Dr.
thanks,
Siwa.
thanks. So I would like to call upon PAG managers to say a few words.
Hi, Dr. Siva. Thank you so much. It's been our pleasure to have you on board, giving us this specific talk on lifestyle. It's really apt, especially now that we're all stuck at home, as you know. And I really like what you said. You can't out exercise a bad diet. Yeah, and the fridge is really not helping us. We are eating so much, and we've got to be mindful. I think it's really so good to hear from you, in depth. I think from most of us, take home message is our diet, our exercise, our sleep, go to bed early. Yeah, we tend to sleep late and get up late. And but 5 servings of vegetable, that's something really good, especially this generation nowadays. It's so difficult to get them to eat some vegetables. So 5 servings is you have to just be mindful of that. Thank you so much for being with us. And we all enjoyed your talk.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, PAG managers. I would like to invite our president, Dr. Dixon, to present the e-certificate to Dr. Siva.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Siva. So the e-certificate, in fact, is in the process. So I'm going to visit you after the full MCO and officially pass you the certificate.
Sure.
But it's a really good tips and things that you share with the group. Thank you very much.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Chia, you want to on the PowerPoint? Yeah.
Oh. Sorry. Okay, hang on a minute. I would like to request for the photo session actually, currently. So can everybody turn on their video, please?
You got to stop sharing first, Dixon.
Oh, hang on, I will stop right away. Can everybody turn on the video, please? Please. Come on. Everybody. Doctor. Yes. Come on. Who else? Irene. Samsung Chong. President Low, RCBA. Okay.
Okay.
Are you
capture?
snapped? Hang on.
Yes, done. Thanks.
Done. All right.
Thank
cool.
you.
All right. Share my video slide again. Okay, this is all the care lines where we could get to reach out for the help. There is 9 possible numbers. Please snapshot if you want to, or take down the numbers. All right. I would like to invite Terence Hugo to present for the next TTT.
Thank you, Chair, for the introduction. And first and foremost, thank you to Dr. Siva for a very informative session today. And one of the points that Dr. Siva highlighted is times has changed and people habits have changed as well. What used to be an outdoor life for our youth and children has now turned indoor, and especially even more true during the pandemic. And what has happened is, do you know how much time an average Malaysian spend on their phone or on the net? What we realize is that the average Malaysian spend 9 hours on the internet and 3 hours on social media. Just imagine this, right now during the lockdown, how many more hours do you think our young children and youth are clocking in? A lot of hours. And this is exactly an issue that we would like to highlight. The nature of bullying, whether it's in workplace or whether in schools. The Star reported 8 out of 10 children faces bullying in school. It's 8 out of 10. But then all of us here will be saying that people are not going to school right now. Don't worry, I have another stats for you. Actually, Malaysia is number two in Asia for cyberbullying. That is how serious the situation is. Perhaps you might be asking like Hugo, like, I don't feel it, right? Last year, around this time, there is a 20-year-old young lady who committed suicide due to people spreading fake information of her on the web and cyberbullying her. So that's the reason why next month on 22nd July 2021, join us with Datin Wong from Childline Foundation and Pawit Koran, the recent English-speaking union, public speaking champion who spoke on mental health. So we have a subject matter expert together with a youth representative coming together to share with you how can we deal with bullying. So I think Samson commented, aren't there any law? I think this is exactly what we want to discuss, Samson, because as what we have realized with the coalition, we are trying to cover a lot of grounds. Today, you learn about lifestyle medicine. Next month, you learn about bullying. And it takes a lot of stakeholders, people like you, parents, people like you, lecturers, professors, advocates, psychologists, and also school teachers to see what kind of policies, best practices, and why bullying is still a thing today. So join us 22nd July. I will see you next month. Back to you, Chia. Thank you.
Thanks, Terence. Thank you very much. So guys, mark your calendar, 22nd July 2021, which is next month, third Thursday. Please help to spread the news as well. Sharing is caring. All right. So it is coming to an end of today's session. Thank you very much. Stay safe. And balance is the keyword, I would say. Health is a choice. It's your choice. You want to be happy, you want to be whatever, be balanced. Thank you.